guys, this week we're going to be performing a titration, which is a technique that can allow us to figure out the unknown concentration of an acid or a base, or even sometimes help us figure out the mole-to-mole ratio in an oxidation reduction reaction. Today we're going to do an acid-base reaction. We have here an unknown concentration of hydrochloric acid and a known concentration of sodium hydroxide. Now over here, we're going to use something called a magnetic stir plate, and we have a stir bar that is little and white, and it will spin when we turn on the stir plate. It's very important to put the stir bar into the beaker before you add your acid. Next, we can add the acid to the beaker, pouring very carefully because we don't want it to splash. Again, pour very slowly. Make sure that all of your amount is added to the beaker. Also make sure that you write down the amount of acid. I used exactly 25 milliliters of acid, so I'm going to write that down. 25 milliliters of mystery concentration acid, HCl. Now in my burette, which is this very long tube, I'm going to put my base in this very long tube, and I need to make sure that the stopcock is in the closed position. Please note that it makes a T with the burette. I'm going to use a funnel to put the base into the burette so that I don't spill. Pour very slowly and make sure that you do not add more than 50 milliliters of base. It cannot hold more than 50 milliliters. Again, pour very slowly to avoid splashing. You'll notice that the burette fills very quickly. Now I've added just about 40 milliliters of base, and that will be okay for me. Once you fill the burette with base, connect it to the burette clamp. And before you do anything else, record how much base is in your burette. If you can't see the numbers, go ahead and move the rest of your setup and lower the burette so that you can see it. Or you can use the tallest person in your group. Now let's see how to read a burette. It's really nice to have a colored piece of paper behind these lines, and then you will zoom in and see that we have just about hit the 11 milliliter mark almost perfectly. I think I'm going to write down exactly 11.0. So I'm starting, recording in my lab notebook, starting at 11.0 milliliters of NaOH, which has a concentration of 0.1 for our purposes. Now I'll readjust the burette and move the stir plate and the acid underneath. Now for us to know when this acid-base reaction is done, this time we're going to use something called an indicator. Today we'll use phenolphthalein. It's a really nice indicator that turns a lovely pink color just as a solution turns basic. So right when the titration is finished and you're just getting a little bit more base in there. It's important that you only use about 3 drops of this stuff. Also, if you get it on your hands, be sure to make sure that you wash your hands right away. It's not a good thing to ingest. Now that we have our acid and our indicator inside the beaker, I'm going to slowly turn on the stir. You'll notice that the stir bar will mix our solution quite well. It's important for this to constantly be on so that we know that our reaction is complete and the entire beaker's worth of chemicals are being reacted. Now we're slowly going to add base until we see a light pink color. Now we're looking for really, really pale pink, so try to make sure to put a white piece of paper underneath your beaker so you can see the pale pink. I'm going to slowly turn the stopcock. Oh, that's a little fast. Maybe a little slower. Try to get it to where you have a slow drip going, just like this, so a slow drip. You'll notice, if you come a little closer, that each time the drop falls, the solution turns a little pink. Our goal is to get this to a point where all the moles of acid react with all the moles of base. And yes, it takes quite a while. So now we're just watching for that pink to stay in our solution, and we'll quickly shut off the stopcock. Here we have the last few drops. It's almost completely pink. You don't want to miss that last piece. We're so close to it now. We just need to get our solution to stay pink. And there it is. The palest pink. Oh, it went away. Not the very next drop. It's got to be. If you have a drop that's hanging off of the burette and won't come off, feel welcome to use just a little bit of dropper bottle. Okay, it's almost there. Will this one stay pink forever? No, that went back to clear. We're so close to the end point of this reaction. When the base dropped into the beaker, we got this really pale pink. We're just waiting to see if it will go away. And it doesn't look like it's going away, which is really exciting. Now please notice the very, very paleness of this pink. It's almost not observable unless you compare it to the paper it's next to. See how very pale this pink is. At this point, it's very important to write down the volume of base that you used. So you'll grab your colored piece of paper, or notebook in my case, and you'll look at eye level, and you'll notice that we're about, let's see, 47.2. 47.2. Look at that. All right, we'll write that down and we'll figure out our math in the next one.